Hi everyone, my name's John, and in this video I talk you through the onboarding flow page on the beginners template. So onboarding flows are used to enhance a customer's experience with your app. The onboarding flow is the first impression that your customers will have about your app, and therefore it has to look and feel great. You will have an onboarding flow for three main reasons. So firstly, to collect information on the user. Secondly, to educate the user about your app. And thirdly, to maybe promote your paid version of the app. The one thing that they all have in common though, is that they aim to make your customer get the most out of your product. This app is going to be the onboarding for a fitness app. So as you can see here, firstly, we let their users slide through the different information. Then they can sign up, add some of their information. Then they're going to get some standard questions about the app, about their fitness, then some questions about themselves, so the app can be customized towards them. Then there'll be a do you want to get premium, and then they're ready to go and use the app. In this video, you're going to learn how to navigate between groups using a parameter in the URL. And then you're going to learn how to guide users through an onboarding process. So let's do this. As always, I started first with the database. I've called this data type fitness app, as you can see here. And generally, everything's quite standard. You could have this on the user data type, a lot of this information, because it is, for instance, a user's name, their gender, stuff like that. But I've separated it in this case so that every page on the template has its separate data types. So if you have a look, everything is generally quite standard. We've got a birthday, which is date. We've got a couple of text data types, which are for first name, gender, stuff like that. But there are three that probably stand out, and that's activity level, where's it gone? Goal, and weekly goal. So you can see that their data type is also of the same name, but that data type doesn't exist in the data types here. So where are they? That is because they are option sets. So option sets allow you to have a static list of choices, which they call options, as you can see here. And they will be global to the whole app. So say you've got a static list of activity levels like this, for instance, that we want, to be used throughout the app. We can add them as option sets or options in the option sets. So in this case, I've set up 3 for activity level, goal, and weekly goal. And that's because I want all users to be able to have the same choices. At the moment, I've just set 3 choices. So for activity level, it's once a week, 3 times a week, 5 or more times a week. For goal, it's similar, and weekly goal, it's similar. So using option sets just means that we have this list already here. We can add another one to the list if we want, and then that'll be in the app straight away just from doing it here. I'll also leave a link in the information below so you can read up on it if you like. So the next one is privacy. So with the fitness app, we do have one privacy role, and that is this fitness app's user is current user. So that means that only people who have created their own data, only they can see their own data, except for as you can see here, except for the first name and last name. That's because, this could be private, very private information that people want to keep secret. So we've added this privacy rule, so there is no way that anyone else can accidentally see someone else's information. Now let's look at the UI. So for this app, I've set it up to have 11 groups that will all be stacked on top of each other, and only one of those groups will be visible at a time. So they're group 1 to 11 here, and as you can see, they're all stacked on top of each other. And when one is hidden, the rest will all be collapsed, so that you just see that one group at the top of the screen ready for you there. So the reason I've done that is because it's an onboarding flow. We want it to be as simple as possible for the user. So to navigate between the groups, we could simply set a workflow to close one group and open another group every single time. But we'd have to do that for every group, and it would include just a lot of repetitive workflows. So what I've done is I've set every group as having the data type number and set that data source for that number as a number. So in this case, each group from 1 to 11 is numbered 1 to 11. And that's the order in which the group will be shown. So the reason I've done that is because then I'm able to set this condition, and this is the same condition on every group. Get nav from page URL, and this is getting the value of nav from the page URL is this group's number. So when the nav, which is a parameter I've set up for in the URL, matches this group will be shown. This is great because then if we wanted to change the order for whatever reason, all we have to do is go in and change this number. And it also means we have way less workflows. So let's take a look at the workflows for this. For the navigation workflows, I've actually covered colored the main ones in blue. So the first one that will happen is when nav in the page URL is empty, we run this action, which is go to page onboarding flow, which is the page we're already on. But what we do is we send a parameter to that page, which is nav, which I mentioned earlier, equals 1. So what that means is when a new user comes to this page, nav is set as 1, which shows this first group, the group number 1. So then to change between the groups, I've set up 2 custom workflows. So back page, which is meant to basically mean back one page, and next page, which goes to the next page. So they have a similar action in both of them, and that's similar to the action up here, which is a go to page onboarding flow, which again we're already on, but this time it reads it reads the nav, so it gets the nav parameter from the URL, and then it minuses 1. That's what this custom workflow does. And then it's the same, except it pluses 1 for the, does that make sense? Pluses 1, but it adds 1 for the next page. So we get the nav from the page URL, and then we add 1 to it. And what that will do is, if we're on this group number 1, we'll trigger that workflow, and then it'll add 1, and the nav becomes 2, which means this group's hidden because of this condition. And then this group is shown because its data source is number 2, which will now be matching the nav number in the URL. So for us to trigger that, these workflows, I'll just pick a random one, see if it has it. No. We just set up a trigger action, and that's trigger next custom event next page. Simple as that. Let's take a look at the rest of group 1. So group 1, as you saw earlier, has this swipe action, which has been set up using the plugin Draggable Elements, the Draggable Elements plugin. So I actually have made another video on this that explains exactly how you can set that up. So go and check that video out, and you should learn more there. So other than that, we've got the sign up and login button. Currently, the sign up and login button, all they both do is, if you look at the workflows, they just trigger and go to the next page, custom event, and open the next group. So if this is your app and you're setting it up, I'd change the login button to go to a separate login page, or show the login pop up so the user can log in and carry on with the app, because they don't need to onboard because they already have. So group number 2 here is the sign up page. We just take the standard information from the users. It's very similar to the other video I did, which was about signing up and logging in. And yeah, if you look at the workflows, you can see that we sign the user up using the inputs that are in the group, and then we trigger the next page. With the test account, we just log the user in using a test account I created and trigger the next page. And that's it with that page. So now with group 3, again, it's a pretty standard group, like they all are. Every group is really simple because that's the whole point. You want users to be onboarded nice and easily, learn about your app without any trouble. We have 3 inputs: first name, last name, and location. First name is a standard text, last name is a standard text input. Location is actually a search box, even though it says input. And the choices are geographic places. So when a user starts tapping in their location, it will have a drop down of 10 entries that might be their location, and they can select one. So once they've done that, they can press next, and next will create a new fitness app and set those values of the inputs we just saw. And then it'll also set the user of the fitness app as the current user. Then it triggers the next page and we'll go straight to the next page. But we just need to look at one more thing on this group, which is the same for the next 7 groups. And that is this pagination. I think I got it right this time. Squares, and they will be used to show a user what stage they are at in the onboarding process. So the way this has been done is, again, it's using this number in the group. And if you click on a square, it has a condition so that when this parent's group number is 3, because we know that number 3 is the first one in this group of 7 questions, when it's 3, then it will be green. So this applies that when it's 4, it will be green again. The second one will be green, when it's number 9, the last one will be green. So the reason I've done it like that is because I was able to just create it once for this group here and then copy it for the rest of the groups. And cool. So let's go on to the next group. So group 4, we've added this button here, which is back, which just triggers the back page custom event to take the user back in case they type their name wrong, something like that. Then we've got just a question, can we contact you, an image, a bit of a explanation about why we would want to contact you, and then a yes or no. Then if they press no, it will just skip this group and trigger the next page and go to the next page because we don't need to change anything. And then if they click yes, we will make changes to this fitness app, which is search for fitness app, first item, current user, and we'll change their subscribed to yes. Then we will trigger the next page. So it's just quick decision. Do you want to? Yes or no. So the next group, group 5, is where our option sets come into play. So again, we have a question and then we have the choices. And these are the 3 choices are the choices of the option sets list that we set here. So run 5K, run 10K, run a marathon. That's the 3 choices of goals. I think a lot of people would pick none of the above, but for this case, just set those 3 goals, and to use the option sets, you use them quite similar to how you would use data. So I've used a repeating group. I've set the type of content as goal, which is the option set goal. And then for the data source, I've just selected all goal, but should probably say goals, but all goals. So what that does is this repeating group now will display, we'll have a entry for every one of the goals that we have in the option sets. So in this case, the 3 here. So then I've added a button inside the repeating group that displays the current sales goal display. And this display here just basically means that it will show the name. The display will show the name. So then when a user clicks this button, we'll just make changes to the fitness app as we did earlier and set their goal as this current sales goal. And then we'll trigger the next page. So it's super easy. They'll just read the goals, click on the one they want, and it goes straight to the next page. So then we go to group 6, which is a very similar setup, except with the activity level option sets. Everything's pretty much exactly the same. And then once they click their option, they'll go to the next one and have a choice for their weekly goal. And again, the very same setup. They pick their weekly goal and it goes to the next group. So in the next group, again, we're just collecting a little bit more information about the user. Collect their gender, which is in just a standard drop down. Then we collect their date of birth, which is the data input. and then they can press next, which will make changes to the fitness app, their fitness app, and then trigger the next page again. Very similar setup for how tall they are and what they weigh. So then they click next and it'll go to the next page, and then we just add, that's pretty much the end of all the information we're going to take from the user. Now we give them the option to start their 1 month free trial. So would you like to get premium? Here's the benefits of our app, and they've got the choice to do it, which in this case actually does nothing. That's the end of the onboarding flow, or they can skip, which will take them to the next group, which is just a sign off to say thank you for signing up, and you can get started here. So thanks everyone. That was the onboarding flow page from the beginners template. If you're ever unsure of anything with the template, every element, workflow, and action has a note on it explaining exactly what it does. So if you have any questions, either get in contact with me or leave me a comment and I'll try my best to answer. So have a great day. Thank you.